Maria and I have been married for 5 years. To everyone else, I'm the perfect husband, well-mannered, considerate, even voted best husband by some gossip magazine. People envy that I married such a great wife. They have no clue what my role really is in this marriage. For 5 years, she's always been cool and distant, and that passionate love I chased her with is slowly faded. I know deep down, I'm not the one she truly wants, the one she still can't forget. So, I asked for a divorce and moved out. But then, a week later, she showed up at my new place. Divorce? She said, her eyes red. Sam, say that again? This afternoon, Mark, my secretary, texted me. Sam, Maria has an event tonight. She should be home around 10:30. I stared at the message for a bit and replied, okay, thanks. 10:30 p.m. She'd probably have eaten by then. All I needed to do was run her bath and leave out fresh clothes. After all that, I left a light on in the living room and went to bed around 10:15. Half asleep, I thought I heard the door, the sound of water running in the bathroom. Just as I was drifting back, I felt the bed sink beside me. Warmth pressed against my back, and in my sleepy haze, she kissed me. Why are you sleeping so early? She whispered near my ear, breath warm. Just tired, I murmured, pushing gently at her but didn't move her. Whatever. Afterward, deep into the night, she slept heavily beside me while I lay awake. I got up, poured myself a glass of red wine, and sat alone in the living room, staring at our wedding photo on the wall. When's the right time to ask for a divorce? Maria and I met in college. She was the superstar, perfect family, top grades, stunning looks. Everything about her was impeccable. Naturally, I developed a crush on her. Back then, I was fearless and persistent. But 2 semesters of trying didn't win her over. I remember waiting in the snow with a scarf I knitted myself. But all I got was an icy Sam. Stop looking for me. I like someone else. I was stubborn, thought it was just an excuse. Until one day I stumbled upon her and the guy, Jason. I saw her soothing him, gently stroking his hair, and then lifting his chin to kiss him. That was when I realized Maria could be gentle and affectionate, just not with me. Their romance spread quickly around campus. The star and the impoverished student, Jason. She even managed to shut down the school forum to protect him. But as intense as their love was, it didn't end well. I never heard why they broke up directly from Maria, but the rumor was Maria wanted Jason to marry her after graduation. He refused, said he didn't want to depend on a woman, wanted to make it on his own. People saw them argue on campus, then mend things back and forth until Jason decided to become a country teacher, and they split. Half a year later, our families worked on a project. We met again, rekindled through work, I suppose. Looking back, I probably took advantage of the situation. I treated her well, just like before, reminding her to drink less at gatherings, cooking porridge to bring to her office. One snowy night, 3 months later, she found me shivering by her company's entrance and asked suddenly, Sam, do you really like me that much? I nodded, a bit dumbfounded. Want to marry me? She laughed. At first, I was really into the whole marriage thing. Honestly, for most of the 5 years, I was enthusiastic. Because I liked her. I naively thought her proposal meant she liked me too. So, even when she rarely replied to my texts, or when I learned her schedule from her secretary, even when all we had was routine married life without any deeper connection, it never changed my love for her. I knew she was busy. I didn't bother her. Even when I was sick, I handled it alone. Until one day I stumbled upon a box. Inside, documents showed she'd been anonymously donating to a rural school for years. The principal wrote a thank you note for each donation, asking for it to be delivered. They were neatly stacked, no creases. Turns out that school principal was Jason. The next morning, I was making breakfast when Maria appeared behind me, startling me. Staying home for breakfast? I asked, surprised. She nodded. I glanced at the ingredients, conflicted. I used to always prepare 2 breakfasts, whether she'd be home or not. Because our time eating together was so rare, I cherished it. But lately, I stopped making 2 servings. Felt wasteful. Here, you can have this. I offered her the omelet. She paused, staring at it. Eat while it's hot. I need to get ready, taking Grandpa to a meeting this morning. I put down the milk, ready to leave. Sam. She suddenly grabbed me, hesitating. I looked at her, confused. What's up? I asked. She surprised me, pulling me into a hug. Almost lost my balance. You been tired lately? She asked, eyes searching mine. Tired? Yeah, kinda. Thinking about divorce all the time makes me feel mentally drained. I don't have much going on tonight. Mark mentioned there's a new Michelin-starred restaurant near the office, serving your favorite Cantonese food. Wanna check it out together? I was a bit taken aback and asked her again. You got time tonight? She nodded. How much time? She chuckled. A lot. A lot? I got excited. Really? She laughed, of course. Awesome. I'll come by the office to meet you tonight. I felt a bit relieved. It's great that she's got time. It means we can finally talk about the divorce tonight. However, I didn't get to see Maria that evening. She stood me up. Just as I was about to leave at 5, I got a message from Mark's secretary. Maria had something come up and couldn't make it to dinner. This kind of thing has happened countless times over the past 5 years. I've gotten used to it. I changed out of my clothes and settled for dinner alone. After dinner, I sat by the window, watching the sky grow darker, and started mindlessly scrolling through short videos. That's when I saw Maria in one of the local trending videos. She wasn't alone. There was Jason. They were sitting across from each other in the ground floor cafe of Maria's company. The person filming was likely an employee from Maria's company. She excitedly narrated, "Check out our company's perks." Running into the big boss and that famous educator, Principal Jason, having coffee together. He looks even better than on TV. I wish I could ask for his autograph. The video was uploaded 5 minutes ago. The comments were filled with praise. Beautiful boss and handsome teacher. What a sight for sore eyes. So jealous of the video creator. Hey pretty, is your company hiring? I want to be there too. I watched for a while, then put my phone away. So, Maria missed our dinner because of Jason. For some reason, even though I'm her lawful husband, I felt it was perfectly normal for her to ditch me for Jason. What do 5 years of marriage matter, right? In her heart, I might not even compare to Jason. Maria finally came back around 9:30. What did you eat tonight? She asked, unusually interested about my dinner as she sat beside me. I didn't answer, just paused and softly asked, was it because of Jason that you had something going on tonight? She paused, looking a bit surprised and vaguely annoyed. Who told you? I shook my head. No one. I saw it in a video. After a while, she sighed. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to overthink. Don't worry. There's nothing going on between us. I previously made an anonymous donation to his school, and someone leaked the news. He brought the media over to thank me. He was pressed for time, so we did a few interviews. We met in the company cafe with lots of employees around. Sam. She touched my hair. We've been married for 5 years. We have some trust, right? Yeah. I should still have some time tomorrow. We can go have that Cantonese food. Maria. I suddenly interrupted her. I don't actually like Cantonese food. I only said I did so I could have more meals with you. She was stunned. In these 5 years of marriage, do you even know what I like to eat? She didn't answer. Of course, she didn't know. She never wanted to know. The emotions I had bottled up for hours were about to explode, but I restrained myself and asked a cutting question. So, you remember Jason likes black coffee and croissants but don't know what your own husband likes to eat? Sam, she frowned. If you're unhappy with something, we can talk about it, but leave Jason out of this. Of course, when I mentioned Jason, she couldn't handle it. I actually had something to talk about tonight. I took a deep breath and looked at her. Maria, let's divorce. The room went silent for about a minute. Sam. Maria leaned back. Do you even know what you're saying? I know. Divorce isn't something you can just casually mention. I know. The silence resumed. After a while, Maria pinched her brow, sounding a bit helpless. Maybe I was harsh earlier, but I just met Jason. You want a divorce over that? I bit my lip, feeling like she missed the point. If I wanted to cheat, I wouldn't do it like this. You've known me for 5 years, you should understand how I operate. Yes, I did know her. If she wanted something done, she'd do it flawlessly. If she wanted to achieve something, she'd lay the groundwork to ensure success. But did she know me? Did she ever truly love me? After seeing that video tonight, the inferiority I felt in front of Jason during school came rushing back. The truth was there. As long as Jason was around, Maria would never see me. Still, it seemed silly for an adult to get hung up on love at this point. I just think that after all these years, we're not suitable for each other. You could have better options. How are we not suitable? She seemed to find it amusing as she naturally reached for my hand. For 5 years, you've done well. But I don't want to keep doing it. I pulled away and moved aside. Maria's hand hung in midair. I've already signed the divorce papers. Sam, she interrupted, I explained about Jason, and I promised not to get involved with him. What more do you want? With a stern voice, she added, if you're dead set on tonight's incident, then you're being unreasonable. The words I wanted to say were stuck in my throat. It seems like tonight's not the night for this conversation. Maybe realizing her tone was harsh, she softened after a while, gently touching my hair. Don't make a fuss, okay? Then she got up to take a shower. Watching her walk away, I murmured softly, I had duck blood soup for dinner. She paused mid-step. That's my favorite dish. No way. What did you say? Divorce? The next day, my sister Linda glanced over the divorce papers I was holding and her eyes widened like saucers. After all, since Maria and I got married, our families have collaborated a lot more. I thought, since we're getting divorced, I should let my sister know in advance. Even if she was somewhat pressured into the marriage at first, you two seemed pretty happy afterward, right? Maria's been good to you, my sister said, swinging her golf club. What are you talking about? What pressure? Sis? Well, my sister pinched her brow, maybe regretting her slip. Remember 5 years ago when her family needed a big loan? I noticed you liked her then, always running to her place day and night. So when Maria came to me, I just hinted a tiny bit. I stared at my sister, shocked. What did you hint? Awkwardly, she looked away. I told her if we became in-laws, I'd definitely help with the money. I stood there, as the realization chilled my blood. Sis? My sister anxiously looked at me. Anything else? I dug my nails into my palm. What else don't I know? She hesitated. Sis, I'm getting divorced. There's nothing left to hide. Is there? It's not a big deal, just that on your wedding day, Maria's ex-boyfriend showed up. I gaped at her. He wanted to see Maria, but I was afraid it would cause drama, so I told him you two were happy now and she wouldn't want to see him. I sent him away. She scratched her head, and because some of Maria's family was there, I'm not even sure if Maria knew about it. So that's how it is. I thought she proposed because she liked me at least a little. But turns out, this marriage was a sacrifice she made for her company and family. That night in the snow 5 years ago, so that's what she meant. Sam, do you really like me that much? Like me enough to push me into marriage like this? So she married me but drew a huge line between us. She never let me cross it. When we first got married, I loved messaging her, asking when she'd be home, planning weekend outings, eager to share everything with her. But she rarely replied, only communicating through her secretary. Gradually, I grew quieter. I stopped bothering her, even letting Mark, her secretary, handle most things. We had a normal married life, and she'd whisper sweetly in my ear, calling me Sam over and over. I thought that was proof of our love. I brought up having kids a few times. She never outright refused, but always took precautions so nothing happened. Looking back now, she probably never wanted kids with me. Last night, she assured me there'd be nothing more with Jason. What do I want, then? Yeah, the two of them had a chance to start over on our wedding day. But they missed it, perhaps forever, because of me. What does this sinner want now? I never wanted it this way when I first liked her. I envied Jason when they were together but never wished to interfere or break them up. I liked her because I wanted her to be happy. But she punished me like this for 5 whole years. I wandered the streets aimlessly until I unknowingly ended up outside Maria's office building. With the divorce papers still in my bag, I hesitated but eventually texted Mark, her secretary, to say I was there to see Maria. I want a divorce. I don't want to drag this out any longer. As I reached the lobby, I saw Jason. He was chatting with the receptionist, smiling. When he heard footsteps, he turned and saw me. He looked leaner than in videos, more tan since school days, wearing ordinary clothes yet exuding confidence, maturity, and calmness. Long time no see. He nodded at me. We went to the cafe on the first floor together. I didn't expect to find croissants and coffee that tasted just like the ones at our old school cafe. What a nostalgia trip. His eyes crinkled with a smile. School days. He started talking about his past few years. He's really achieved a lot. After going back to be a village teacher, he helped many out-of-school kids. The school's now stable and he's become quite well known. You're incredible, honestly. I praised him. He smiled, saying people only see the glamorous side. Back then, I almost couldn't keep going. Taking a sip of coffee, he said, actually, on your wedding day, I tried to find Maria. My hand holding the cup went cold. I was reckless and broke up with her, thinking I'd be fine. But once I became a rural teacher, I realized reality was much harder than the ideal. Many things were tougher than I imagined. I almost gave up many times, wanting to drop everything to come back to her, until I heard you two were getting married. I'm sorry, I said. He paused, surprised. I didn't know you came that day. He lowered his head, silent. I'm planning to divorce Maria, I told him. Jason's eyes widened suddenly. You're kidding, right? He laughed. I've seen you in the media over the years. People always have good things to say. It's true. May I ask why? He finally asked softly. Why are you getting a divorce? I shook my head. Why else would it be? Because I'm tired. I wish there was someone who'd let me be loved and reckless just once, without any care. Just then, I heard a familiar voice at the cafe door. Sam. Jason and I both turned around. It was Maria. She briskly walked up to us, hesitated slightly at the sight of Jason, then looked at me with a frown. Why are you suddenly at the company? Seeing her expression, I immediately understood. She probably thought I was here just to give Jason a hard time today. Maria. Jason stood up. I'm sorry to interrupt again. I have a few educational charity projects to discuss, like I mentioned last time, and since I had some free time today, I wanted to chat with you about them. All right, I'll have my secretary take you upstairs. With that, Maria called Mark, the secretary standing by the door, and had him escort Jason away. I expected her to go with him, but she continued standing there, looking at me. I was confused. Did she really want to get rid of Jason just to confront me in public? This favoritism is too obvious. Lack of tact in this situation. I had no choice but to explain, Maria. It's not what you think. Are you feeling all right? I was puzzled for a moment, and before I could respond, she stepped closer and held my hand. Your face is so pale, and your hands are freezing. Some employees passed by, sneaking glances and whispering among themselves. Suddenly, I realized why she was acting so strangely. Maria and I rarely appeared together in private settings like this. She probably worried I'd cause a scene with Jason, so she sent him away and then acted lovingly in front of everyone to stop any damaging rumors about him. I didn't mind. Since we're divorcing, I might as well play the role to protect her and Jason. Plus, if she's in a good mood, maybe the divorce will go smoother. Thinking this, I lifted my head and gave a classic polite smile. I'm fine, don't worry. You and the principal probably have more to discuss, so you get back to it and I'll head out. I pulled my hand back and was about to leave, but she stopped me, frowning. Where are you going? I didn't answer. She pulled me closer and suddenly placed her hand on my forehead. You're running a slight fever. I'm taking you to the hospital. I felt helpless being dragged to the car by Maria. I assumed she was just creating an excuse to get me out of the company, but instead, she took me straight to the hospital. There's nothing much, just his blood sugar's a bit low. How long has this been going on? The doctor asked Maria. Maria was stunned for a moment. A few years now. I answered for myself. Family should pay more attention, always keep some sugar handy, the doctor said while writing up a report. This can be serious, besides causing palpitations and fatigue. It can sometimes lead to fainting. Maria nodded. Got it. It's nothing, doctor. I think it's being blown out of proportion. I've always kept sugar and snacks with me. After the doctor's visit, I expected to leave quickly, but Maria was busy asking the doctor about precautions. Suddenly, she was very interested in the topic of low blood sugar. As we exited the hospital, walking to the parking lot, Maria clung tightly to my hand. The hospital visit left me genuinely feeling a bit shabby. Once in the car, I dug out a piece of grapefruit Maria from my bag, peeled it, and popped it into my mouth. The car was awfully quiet. I simply closed my eyes. I'm not sure how long we drove, but eventually, the car stopped. "Are we there?" I asked, half awake. "It's a red light." After a short silence, she spoke softly. "Why didn't you ever tell me about this?" I looked at her, confused about what she meant. "You've been unwell before, haven't you? Why not tell me?" she said as she pulled over to the side of the road. "But I did," I said quietly. "What?" She seemed startled. "When we just got married, you came home late every night for a week. That Friday, I had low blood sugar and texted you from bed, asking if you could come home early and get me some Maria." I chuckled. "You didn't respond. I figured you've probably forgotten by now. There were so many messages back then. It's normal to forget. Remember the other time? We were doing a magazine interview, and the reporter accidentally knocked over my bag, spilling Maria and snacks everywhere. You were pretty unhappy about that. After the interview, you told me not to keep so much useless stuff in my bag. Why hadn't I told you? Because you'd never given me the chance. And I was worried my small flaws would be reasons for you to dislike me. You don't like Maria and snacks, so I keep them hidden in my bag's inner pocket, away from your sight. And you don't like weakness, so I try my best to appear mature and independent." She suddenly held my hand tighter. "Sam, I found a Sichuan restaurant and thought we could go there tonight." Her hand seemed to tremble slightly. "But since you're not feeling well, maybe let's have something bland. Okay?" I shook my head. "I'd like to go home for some porridge." "No need to stay, go on back to work." "Sam, I have time tonight," she insisted. I couldn't help but remind her. "But Jason's still waiting for you at the office. The deputy can handle that." I looked at her, puzzled. "So you're really free tonight?" She nodded. I'm free." "So, I thought for a moment, if you're really free, let's just go home. All right?" She nodded with a hint of joy in her eyes. "Okay, let's go home." My mood lifted, too. "Once we get home, we can have an honest talk about the divorce." Maria stayed quiet the rest of the way. She's pretty sharp. I think from last night to today, she realized I mean it when I mentioned divorce. When we got home, I calmly pulled out the divorce papers. Her gaze grew colder looking at the document. "Who helped you draft this?" "Linda?" I was taken aback. "Nobody, I did it myself." I paused. "I spent a whole month thinking about every detail. Getting divorced wouldn't affect you or your family much. I'm only taking back the dowry I brought to the marriage. If there's anything else you want to add, feel free. We can talk it over." She suddenly smirked bitterly. "A whole month? You've been thinking about this divorce for a month? I know you're busy, so I wanted to prepare everything before talking to you." I paused again and said, "This way we can do it faster and not waste your time." "I disagree." She pushed the agreement towards me. I was taken aback. "What part don't you agree with?" I asked, flipping through the agreement. "Is it the stock part? I've already made a huge concession here. Any less would cause issues with my sister." She suddenly placed her hand on the agreement, holding it down. "I disagree with the divorce." Her eyes were serious as she looked at me. "Why?" I asked, then it dawned on me. "Oh, are you worried that your next husband might not do as good a job and people might talk? You don't need to worry about that. Even though it's a hassle, as long as he tries, he can do a good job." I thought for a moment, then grabbed 5 notebooks from the shelf. They have notes on social engagements and dealing with the media, what to say and not say in different situations, what to wear. "Rest easy, I can pass these on to your future husband. If he ever needs help, he can come to me." "Sam." She suddenly raised her voice, sounding angry. I looked at her, confused. "What do you see our marriage as? Am I just another task for you?" I didn't say anything, just turned to look out the window. How could it be just a task? It's because I valued this marriage so much. I tried so hard to be the perfect partner. But now, what's the point in saying this? Sam, she sighed. Taking my hand, you have to know we're not in a work relationship. We're a married couple. But other than sharing a bed, we don't act like a real couple. She paused, and I continued. The number of times we eat together in a month can be counted on one hand. I text Mark more than I ever texted you. I don't know how other couples live, but I know this isn't what I want. I gently withdrew my hand. Maria, I've thought a lot about this. You didn't do anything wrong in this marriage. I chased after you back then, wanted to marry you. In these 5 years, you've never cheated or treated me badly. Your mom has been great too. It's been me, having these unrealistic fantasies about our marriage. We could continue like this, but I think in life we should be with someone we love and who loves us. You'd be happier with someone you love. She stared at me, confused. Someone I love? She asked suddenly, who do you think that is? I shook my head. I don't know. But whoever it is, it won't be me. The next morning, I moved out and went back to the apartment I owned before we got married. That night, we sat silently for a few minutes. Maria got up to take a call and never came back home. She took the divorce papers with her. I assume she agreed to the divorce. It doesn't affect her much anyway. The wedding ring on my left hand, the only gift from Maria in 5 years, I took it off and left it by the bed. Just as I finished packing, I got a call from my brother. Sam, why did Maria call me? Asking what Maria you like? He asked, clearly puzzled. Are you getting divorced or not? I hesitated. Yeah, we are. Hey, I was wondering, isn't there that small media company in our family? Not doing too well. My brother sighed. It's been years we've been losing money. I'm thinking of cutting our losses. Gazing out at the expansive blue sky from the 26th floor, I asked, can I take it over? By evening, I surprisingly got a message from Maria. I'll pick you up for the gala tonight. I stared at my phone. This was something Mark usually handled. No need, I'll go alone. During the divorce process, I'm not staying at home. I've moved out. There was no reply. It made sense. But an hour later, as I was headed down to my car, there was Maria. She looked worn out, eyes red and tired. I'd never seen her like this. What are you doing here? Her eyes lit up briefly, and she walked over quickly, grabbing my hand, but then stopped. Where's your ring? She asked. I took it off. Why? We're getting divorced, so it's not necessary. Sam. She almost shouted, voice filled with anger. I haven't agreed to the divorce yet. I was baffled. You didn't agree? You didn't mention that last night. You took the divorce papers away. She pulled me closer, visually exasperated. Not saying anything doesn't mean I agree. Who taught you that logic? Sam. She leaned her head against mine and sighed softly. I don't want a divorce. Maria said she didn't want a divorce. I had thought of countless hurdles in the divorce process, my brother, Maria's parents, splitting assets. But I never expected the first hurdle to be her not wanting it. I was almost frantic. Why wouldn't you want it? Isn't this best for both of us? She frowned, about to speak, but a car horn interrupted her. Her car was blocking the driveway. With no choice under the rush, I got in the car with her, off to the gala. As soon as I sat in the passenger seat, I realized something was off. The back seat, which was usually neat, was filled with pink shopping bags. She always hated those flashy things. Even at home, the decor was all cool and minimal. So seeing those bags here felt weird, even to me. I bought your favorite candies, she said softly, driving. In the glove box too. If you ever feel upset or just want some, you don't have to hide it from me anymore. Then she added, I've scattered them around the house too. Maria, I found 2 great Sichuan and Hunan chefs. Any dish you miss, spicy or sweet, I'll eat with you. I'll also learn to cook. I'll try to come home earlier so we can have dinner together. Weekends, whatever you want to do, watch a movie, hit the amusement park. I'm there with you. As for social events, if you're not up for it, you don't have to force yourself. If what's bothering you is about Jason, I can explain. The company's been involved in education charities for years. But which school to pick wasn't up to me. The office made that decision after lots of checks. I didn't know they'd pick Jason's school. I found out only recently, honestly. I know you probably saw those letters. They've been with the office. It's not like I saw them before you. It's because the old man somehow found out about the thank you notes weeks ago. I had the office gather them so I could take them to the family place over the weekend. She sighed. The lady at the company cafe now used to work at the school cafe and lost her job later. I brought her over. Jason knew her from when he worked at the school cafe. He remembers her and her favorite orders. Maybe I came off the wrong way that night. But I believe he's really just someone from the past, irrelevant to us, she continued. Maria. Sam. She stopped the car, interrupting me. Please don't rush to turn me down. Just hear me out. I thought a lot last night. I really haven't done well in our marriage, but I can change. If you realize your mistakes, you should get another chance, right? Until the party started, I was sort of dazed. After all the polite chats with the guests, I felt like getting some air and went out to the balcony. And of course, I bumped into someone I knew. Wendy, my childhood friend. I walked over to her. Wow, isn't this the praised husband everyone talks about? She said, raising an eyebrow and laughing. Long time no see. Always shoots her mouth off. You doing all right? I was aware she was an illegitimate child and got into trouble last year. Not great standing in her family. Pretty good. She pulled out a cigarette, offering me one. Want one? I hesitated. Nah. Quit? Don't want to get caught and have to PR it away. TSK. Boring. She pointed to the thick woods beyond the balcony. If someone's hiding there snapping pics, I'd eat the whole forest for you. You trust me? I chuckled. My mind was a bit stressed too. Okay, pass me one. That's more like it. Seeing you dragging like that, I thought you were depressed. I smiled. You still unemployed? She made a sound of indifference. Wendy, why not consider joining my little company? I knew she was talented in design. Huh? What's up with you getting a job now? She raised her eyebrows. Too lazy to banter. I sent her my company info from my phone. We're just starting over, so the pay is low, but I would love for you to come. Got it. She picked her ear, eyes suddenly fixed behind me at the door. I turned. It was Maria. My first instinct was to stub out the cigarette. Maria didn't smoke and wasn't fond of the smell. She walked over, frowned at Wendy, and then at me. Why are you smoking? It's bad for you, she softly spoke. Wendy eyed me and then Maria. You didn't know he smokes? Wendy interjected. He started 5 years ago. Maria froze. Girl. Wendy moved up, patting Maria on the shoulder with a grin. You've been married 5 years, right? Shouldn't you know your husband better than me? Wendy left us, with Maria looking gloomy and me feeling awkward. My head ached. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't hiding it. Just at the start of the marriage, trying to handle those guys in media, the pressure was high. I'd smoke a bit when home alone. After explaining, her face darkened. Thinking quickly, I added, we checked earlier, no one's taking photos here, no PR worries. You think I'm worried about someone catching you smoking? She snapped. Stunned, I asked, aren't you? She sighed. Sam, am I such a letdown to you? I paused, unsure how to answer. Was I disappointed? Well, sure. Dreamt big, got let down big. But get let down enough, you get used to it. Decided on divorce already, what's the point of pointless accusations? I shook my head, no, and honestly, I don't feel pressured in social situations anymore. Barely smoke. So, you can tell Wendy your problems, but not me? I paused. If I must. I can handle anything, I said. She nodded. My only worry now, I continued seriously, is how smoothly our divorce process can go. The faster, the better. Maria's face turned darker. Well, she asked me to speak. After a bit, she took my hand. Not that, she insisted. Sam, no divorce. Since then, Maria seemed to change a lot. At my new job, I often got gifts from her. Maria, flowers, various prepared dishes, and of course, her popping in every now and then. The young folks at the office didn't know I was getting a divorce, always praising how caring my wife was. But Wendy, ever since she joined the company, would always give a knowing smile whenever Maria brought things over. She'd shake her head and chuckle. A month later, we had to prep some bid materials. Wendy and I worked overtime for a few days on a particular detail. When we finally wrapped up, I felt relieved and noticed Wendy looking the same. She usually had a laid-back attitude, and I'd never seen her so serious before. Cracked me up. Wendy looked at me puzzled. "What's funny?" she asked. I grinned and said, "I feel like I stumbled onto a hidden gem." Wendy gave a soft laugh. No. It's me doing you a favor." Okay, I replied, realizing there was no arguing with her sass. I stood up. "It's late. Want to grab a late-night snack?" "Sounds great," she said. "Isn't someone picking you up tonight?" She glanced at the door, shrugging. "See, told ya." I turned to see Maria standing there. Wendy lazily packed her bag, waved, and said, "I'm off. You owe me a snack." I nodded, knowing full well. Once Wendy left, it was just Maria and me in the office. She quietly walked over, holding a thermos. "Have you eaten?" she asked softly. "Yeah, I have," I responded. Silence hung in the air. "Maria, I think—" Before I could finish, she suddenly pulled me into a tight hug. "Maria?" I stiffened. "What's going on?" She didn't say anything, just took a deep breath. The clock ticked loudly on the wall. "I'm jealous," she eventually whispered. "Sam, I'm jealous." I couldn't have predicted a day where Maria would admit that she was jealous. "You once asked why I won't agree to the divorce," she continued. "It's because I can't imagine you with someone else." Standing in the doorway, seeing you smile so beautifully with her, it drove me crazy with jealousy. I know there's nothing between you and Wendy, but it made me feel insane. I let her hug me in silence. "Maria, you've asked why I want a divorce, remember?" Her body froze. "For 5 years, I've been Maria's boyfriend, completely devoted. But somewhere along the way, I lost myself. I don't want to be just your boyfriend anymore. I want to be Sam again. I want to live for myself." I gently pulled away. "After 5 years, let's part on good terms, shall we?" She shook her head, tears welling up. I paused, sidestepping to leave, but she held my hand. "Sam," I stopped. "Just once. Give me one more chance, please?" "Okay," I said softly. "If by the end of the year you step down as CEO, we won't separate." She hesitated. "What?" "That's my only condition." She paused. "Sam, that condition is too harsh for me." I shook my head, trying to pull my hand free, but she wouldn't let go. "Just this one condition, no exceptions." After a moment, she released my hand. "Understood," she said, resigned. "Stepping down?" Jason laughed when I told him, "If Maria steps down, I'll give you my head to use for soccer." "I know," I sighed. "Her family situation is complicated. She was never into business herself. Her father is an astrophysicist. So, when her cousins messed up, the family had her step in to manage the company. Her cousins never liked it, always stirring up trouble. It's been tough for Maria to hold her position. I knew better than anyone. She'd never step down. That's how it seemed. Anyway, after our conversation, Maria didn't reach out again. 3 months flew by. I threw myself into work, and the company finally started doing better. Wendy and the staff were motivated, and I could see Wendy had changed too. On December 31st, the company had a small year-end party, and Jason came as well. Everyone was having a blast, Jason dancing around like a fool. At 11 p.m., we left the karaoke bar. It had started snowing, prompting a quick snowball fight. Across the street, a giant screen on the mall played a TV program. My brother was pestering me when a snowflake hit my eyelashes. I blinked, and there on the screen was Maria, still beautiful, being interviewed. "Maria, any special reason for suddenly stepping down as CEO?" She smiled serenely. "No special reason. Just wanted some time to spend with my boyfriend." I stared at the screen in disbelief. Turning to Jason, he looked just as shocked and mimed, chopping his head off as promised. Just then, my phone rang. "Hello? Where are you?" That familiar, gentle voice. "Downtown by the clock tower. I'll be there in 30 minutes. "Maria." "Sam, you have to keep your word." Her tone was firmer than ever. "I'll wait for you." At 11:45 p.m., I met Maria under the clock tower. She walked through the snow, flakes landing softly on her shoulders and hair, making her appear dreamy, almost ethereal. "Is this necessary?" I asked quietly while looking down. "You've stepped down. What if you can't come back? She shook her head with a carefree smile. Then I won't come back. I turned away. 5 years of hard work. Just let it go like that? How reckless. She raised her eyebrows with a playful look. So you're worried about me, aren't you? She stepped closer. So, there's still hope for me, right? Maria. She handed me a stack of papers. It was the divorce papers. I stared at her blankly, not quite understanding. In these past 3 months, I've been handling my resignation while thinking a lot. She paused. Sam, I've stepped down, but I don't want to force you to continue this relationship. She handed the papers over again, the breakup agreement, which she had already signed. Then why did you step down at all? I was even more confused. You're no businessman if you don't make a profit. She laughed. I want to trade this resignation for something else. Is that okay? Something else? I looked at her, stunned. She reached out to brush the snowflakes from my hair. An opportunity for us to start over. She lowered her head, and I looked up, our eyes meeting. In hers, I saw a warmth and tenderness I'd never seen before. A chance for me to pursue you all over again. At 12:59, I signed the papers. From then on, I was no longer the perfect boyfriend people talked about. I was just Sam being myself. As the clock tower chimed in the new year, Maria and I looked up at the swirling snow. It's a new year, I remarked. Yeah, she replied, her eyes sparkling as she reached out her hand. Happy New Year, Sam. I'm Maria. I smiled at her. Happy New Year, Maria. I reached out my hand too. I'm Sam. Mark, the secretary, always thought that in these 2 years after Maria's breakup, she didn't seem any less busy. Because Maria was still very busy. Only now, instead of work, Maria was busy with dates. And Mark couldn't help but notice that after Maria and her ex finalized their divorce, it seemed like their relationship improved. For instance, now at the mall delivering car keys to Maria, Mark saw her nestled against Sam in the mall's seating, playfully whining. Stop it. Mark heard Sam complain softly, and even saw him shake off Maria's hand. But Maria didn't get upset. She just continued to softly brush Sam's hair. Let me blow on it. Leave me alone. Sam was still sulking. Mark tooted in his heart. Maria must have done something to annoy Sam. But the next second, Mark heard Sam say, It's your fault for making me watch such a tearjerker movie. We shouldn't have gone. All this just over a sad movie? Mark felt like shutting down. She didn't expect Maria to admit it, and her tone was scarily doting. Yeah, it's all my fault. How about I take care of your eyes all night as punishment? In your dreams. How about I peel you a Maria as a peace offering? Mark felt that if she stuck around for the unfolding dog food drama, she'd want to poke her eyes out. She quietly stepped back 5 meters. In the past, Maria and the gentleman weren't like this. They were the perfect couple in public during their 5-year marriage. Maria rarely spoke, and he was always calm and quiet. But Mark secretly knew Maria and her husband weren't that close. Even she, as an outsider, sensed there were issues in their marriage. She had heard that Maria had a boyfriend in college, who left her when she was just taking over the family business and needed support the most. He left for his own dreams. It seemed that experience hurt Maria a lot. People tend to protect themselves after a wound, fearing getting hurt again. Mark often wondered if that was why Maria couldn't open her heart to such a good man. Yet, deep down, Mark felt Maria did care about him. At times during work, Maria would suddenly look up and ask, "What's his schedule like today?" After hearing the update, Maria would nod and go back to work. Once, Mark suggested boldly, "Maria, why not text him?" But Maria looked at her phone for a while before deciding against it. It seemed their long-term habits had ingrained deeply into their routines. Even Mark, as an outsider, saw Maria's growing attachment to him. Yet, to Maria, it appeared they maintained the same dynamic. Mark felt like something was bound to happen if it continued. And it did. One night, Maria returned to the office looking lost. "Mark," her voice was soft, "if a husband suddenly wants a divorce, do you think he's serious?" Mark was shocked. "Not always. My husband always talks about divorce. We've even torn the marriage certificate twice after big fights. But usually after I apologize and he cools down, it's forgotten." She watched a gleam of hope flash in Maria's eyes. However, thinking it through, she decided to speak truthfully. "But I doubt he says divorce lightly." That statement hit hard. You could see the little spark in Maria's eyes just ignite. Then poof, it was out. That night, Maria stayed in the office all night. Seems like it was from that day on, things started to change with her. Maria started asking where to find a good Sichuan cuisine chef, would ask about her and her husband's relationship, even about all these small things she never used to care about. She'd openly show concern for her husband, calling and texting him. She even went to see him whenever he was out working. Mark was quite pleased about it. Maria owned up to her mistakes and changed, which was great. Yet, she didn't expect they'd still get divorced. What surprised her more was that, after the divorce, they started dating again. After stepping down as CEO, Maria put all her focus on her husband. He was super busy with work, so she'd bring him meals and drinks every day, picking him up and dropping him off. Eventually, her husband got annoyed and told her he didn't want to date someone unemployed. So, because of him, Maria left the company, and because of him, she came back. Mark's secretary knew the husband said that on purpose. Even she thought it was a shame for Maria to leave, let alone the husband who'd been with her for so long. Still, Maria got a little possessive after they started dating. Like that day when the husband suddenly texted Mark's secretary saying he'd drop by the company to get something. Wanting to be helpful, the secretary let Maria know. Who would have thought? Maria got upset. "I texted him like 3 hours ago, and he didn't reply." She frowned. "Why's he texting you?" Mark's secretary had nothing to say, just forced a chuckle. She really wanted to snap back. He used to text me way more than you. But she didn't dare to. As an employee, she could only swallow the bitterness and gently remind the husband to reply to Maria. Mark figured they'd get remarried soon. However, 2 years passed and neither seemed to be in a hurry. Until New Year's Eve of the third year, when Mark was leaving after working overtime, she saw the light on in the CEO's office. Maria rarely worked overtime these past 2 years, so Mark thought maybe she left the light on and went over. Just as she nudged the slightly open door, she saw Maria, back facing the door, holding a script, nervously practicing something. On her left, there was a ring box. Mark quietly closed the door, glanced out the floor-to-ceiling window, and saw it was snowing outside. A small, upright figure had just gotten out of a car by the company entrance. She chuckled, realizing she stumbled upon quite the secret. As she turned to the elevator, she looked back at the CEO's office. "Go, Maria," she whispered. "Good luck."